All right, welcome to the Creation to Cash Flow podcast. On this podcast, we discuss strategies to maximize your creativity and help you achieve financial freedom. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Nick.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm happy to be alive, grateful to be here. Yeah, how are you doing? I mean, I know how you're doing, but tell the world how you're doing.
I'm doing so fantastic. Oh my goodness. I'm a little bit congested, so bear with me if I sound a little bit congested. It's because I am. This morning I went to get a bagel, as is typical in New Jersey, and a Rick Ross song came on. And the first thing he said in the beginning of the song was, "Every day you wake up, you're motherfucking rich just for waking up." And I was like, wow, Rick, thank you for that, because I'm feeling I'm feeling a little bit funky today, and that was exactly what I needed to hear. So I'm feeling motherfucking rich.
Wow, so profound of Rick Ross.
Yeah, he's so wise. He has the largest personal swimming pool in the United States.
I did not know that, but that's good. I needed to know that information.
Yeah, I like Rick Ross a lot. Um, anyway, shall we dive into today's episode?
Let's do it.
Today, we are talking about breaking your bad habits. Ooh, such a good one, because I don't know about you, but like, I have bad habits. I'm not about to preach and say I have no bad habits and this is how to break them, but I used to have way worse habits, and I feel like there's a lot of value we can add to people on maybe how we've kicked some of our own
Yeah.
and how we tolerate them still, because it's just this never-ending cycle of, like, you pick up a new habit, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, or maybe it started good and becomes bad. What makes a habit bad, Michelle? How do we even define this?
It's so subjective based on the person, right? So, one thing to think about is this thing that you're doing, is this habit benefiting you and your life and those around you? Or is it preventing you from truly being your best self and living your best life? And that's where the good or bad comes into play because so many habits are subconscious and we might not even realize that they might be impacting us in a negative way or in a positive way. There are so many good things I do, and there are so many things that I'm like, I should change that.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same way for sure, and I totally agree with your definition of that, because realistically, if we just look at the things that we do and we're like, does that help me or hurt me? You could probably, like, there's not going to be many that are a gray area. You could probably categorize things pretty safely. Like, for example, checking your phone first thing when you wake up. Not going to act like I don't do that sometimes, but I know that that is hurting me. I know that that is a bad habit, but it's a habit. It's hard to break. And I know that the solution to breaking that bad habit is, as it is with many habits, eliminating the trigger. What is the trigger? Alarm goes off, or phone is just next to you when you wake up and you see it, and your arm, you won't even think about it. Your arm just goes, grabs it, and now you're on Instagram. And it's like, how did that even happen? So, how do we eliminate the trigger? My favorite self development tip in the world, of course: move your phone charger to the other side of the room, so that when your alarm goes off, or when it's just time to wake up and you need to go get your phone, you have to stand up and walk to the other side of the room. It's not so easy.
Yeah. Another thing that I recommend is doing your daily journal or something. We say it a lot. Just write something, even if it's a sentence, even if you're circling how you feel that second when you wake up, whatever that thing is, pen to paper, put it on top of your phone if you're not going to move it across the room. And like if you do want to have it next to you, what I do is I have my 6-minute diary on top of my phone. So when I wake up in the morning, I have to grab the journal and it reminds me, oh, yeah, I should not be grabbing my phone right now. Although it's so funny because this morning I quite literally, and I knew we were talking about this today. What did I do? I freaking rolled over. I had been laying there for a while and I remembered something I needed to get done. I grabbed my phone, I opened up Slack, and then I saw messages and I was like, "Oh, I need to reply to this." And I replied without fully reading the thing. And I was like, "Oh, she said, tweet, not an email." And then I had to say, like, "Sorry, I'm still waking up." And then I was literally like, why am I doing I can't even bring my best self to whatever I'm grabbing and doing first thing in the morning. Why would I do that? And I thought it was so funny because I was like, of course, the day I do this is the day we're talking about this on the freaking podcast. Like, I'm not perfect at all. And I rarely ever grab my phone. But I don't know what made me do it this morning. And I was like, what the heck? Like, why would I do that? The morning of all mornings that I know I shouldn't be doing that. So I will not be doing that tomorrow morning because it did not help anyone.
You know what's so funny
What?
is that my morning started kind of similar. So typically, when I do move my phone charger to the other side of the room, there's an outlet I like to use, like right by where I'm sitting. But there's a bunch of stuff in front of it because I'm in the middle of packing to go to Utah tomorrow. Uh, and so I couldn't access it. So I was like, all right, phone charger's going next to the bed today. No big deal. I'll be fine. And then wake up. Also, immediately check Slack because I see that there's a bunch of stuff happening. And right now, Mike is in Europe, so he's 6 hours ahead. And so my day started super similar. First thing I did was like check Slack, and it's not that bad. I mean, if that's what it takes to keep a business running, I'm not sweating it. But it wasn't the most peaceful start to my day that I've ever experienced. And this is what bad habits are, like that's just not a good habit. It would have been fine if I did something for myself first and then caught up on that. It would have been just fine. Would have been no big deal at all. So it's very funny that on the day we're talking about bad habits, we're still working on kicking some of our own.
Yeah, and it only becomes a habit if you're doing it habitually, right? Like if you are doing it over and over. And I think that you and I both know and we feel in our soul when we do something that we know is easy to become a habit, that we're like, "Oh, okay, like we experienced this. We're not going to like beat ourselves up, but we're going to say, "Okay, we know how we felt. Like this is something we're not going to do again because we know how easy it can be to fall back into it becoming a habit." Because like you said, it's not a bad thing to wake up and take care of business. Like that's good for you. But it's it's not as good as if you would have poured into yourself first, given yourself some time, not given yourself any of those dopamine hits or anything like that, and just started your day off on the right foot. Therefore, you can then bring your best to whatever you are doing for the business. And I think a lot of times people see habits as not bad because maybe the result isn't a bad thing, but the foundation is it's not as good as it could be, and then it does become bad.
Yeah, it's super true. And also there's going to be some times that are different, like right now, like I need to be more available on Slack. So I don't care if for the next couple of days, like if I have to look at Slack in the morning, it's not the end of the world as long as I don't let it become this recurring habit. And what's great is that I'm not going to have that trigger because for the next 8 days I'm going to be in Utah and then I'm flying to LA to come hang out with you.
So excited.
So I'm probably not going to have these issues because I'm going to be able to put my phone way across the room. And I guess that's an important thing for us to discuss is like the awareness of these bad habits. Because if you're not even aware that some of the things you're doing are toxic, you're never going to be able to replace that trigger and try and fix it. But like I know that when I grab my phone first thing in the morning, I'm like, it is not going to be as good of a day as it could have been if I did anything else.
Yeah, I think the importance here is a lot of people see things in their life that are going on and they're not sure what's causing the, anxiety, the overwhelm, the unhappiness. And I think it's so important that we look at what are our habits that might be contributing to these factors in our lives. What are the habits that are causing us to not have time to work on a side hustle? What are the habits that are causing us to feel irritated with our family members? What are the habits we're doing? Because that is what's causing your action and your mindset of what you bring to every day. And so it's like the unawareness is really the most important thing that people need to focus on, because I will tell you 5-10 years ago I would have not known that waking up and looking at my phone would be bad. I didn't know that watching Netflix while I would be getting ready for work in the morning wasn't good for me and I should listen to an audiobook or a podcast instead if I want something in my head, or I could just be alone with my thoughts. So it's like the awareness of what are you currently doing is so important, which is why when I restructured my entire life, I was writing down everything I was doing. And I remember my mentor at the time helped me become aware of some of the things I was doing that I just thought were things I was doing. Everybody else is doing them. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. I didn't realize that some of these things were detrimental to my growth. And it's like somebody had to be there next to me, helping me become aware of my actions because I was just kind of not coasting, but I kind of was like just going through life on like autopilot.
That leads me to a great exercise that any of our listeners can do. If you're driving or something, just do it in your head. But I highly recommend you get a piece of paper and do this. Make a list of all the things that you do right now that are just holding you back from the life that you actually want. It starts with just making that list or finding someone like you said, Michelle, to bring that stuff to your awareness. Because when someone else looks at how you structure your day, like if you just write down everything you do in a day, you could show that to anyone. You could probably look at it yourself and just be like, yikes, a lot of wasted time in here, a lot of bad habits, a lot of things that are not serving me. And what I think is really interesting is when you see these things or someone points them out, pay attention to how your brain justifies them. Like, for example, I called myself out 4 minutes ago. I checked Slack when I first woke up. And notice how the first thing I did was like make an excuse. I was like, but Mike, the owner of the business, is away, and I'm the COO. So right now I need to be extra on Slack. It's like, no, actually, I don't. I still could have done like a healthy morning routine. So that's the other thing to be aware of, the excuses that you're going to make. Because I wonder if any of our listeners picked up on that and they were like, I see what you're doing, Nick. But like, I'm even aware of the excuses that my brain will make to try and keep me the same. And that is one thing that's really hard about growing and changing your life, is that your brain is going to kind of fight you on a lot of these things. It like you are your own worst enemy, and it's crazy. But if you understand that that is going to happen and that your brain is going to justify why you do the certain things, like if you're like, oh, I usually wake up and like and I don't have time for the gym because I have to shower. Like your brain is going to try and justify like, yes, you should be showering in the morning for that reason. And it's going to give you all of the weird excuses as to why you couldn't go to the gym first before you shower. Like your brain is going to self-sabotage. And it's crazy.
Yeah, our brain chemistry is kind of wired to do that. And I think that it's just so beautiful that people who have had success in life have created like books and podcasts and things like that where they can share their experience to help teach us because sometimes we do need to rewire our brain. I do want to go back to something you did say. You said that you want people to write down all the things that are holding them back. I think people should just start by writing down all the things they do because some people, including myself, don't realize that some of the things we're doing are holding us back. We just see them as something we're doing. And so I think that it's first important to figure out like I know you said it after that, but you said write down everything you're doing in a day. And then what I want you to do is ask yourself, how does this either push me forward and help me progress or how could this hold me back? And it's important to look at those because I could easily justify everything I do. Everything I do. If I'm watching a YouTube commentary about this influencer did this today or whatever drama's happening on TikTok, how is that helping me? Is it is it really helping me? Like sometimes we tell ourselves, "Oh, this is helpful," but really it's because we're trying to be distracted by what's going on in our lives. We're trying to like just come up with excuses to make ourselves feel better about the decisions we're making, but really you're only hurting yourself. Like no one is going to show up and be like, "Okay, Michelle, I'm your coach. Like I'm going to get you up out of bed. I'm going to get you to the gym. I'm going to get you." No. You have to be your own coach. Like no one's doing it for you. So if nobody's doing that for you, nobody's definitely telling you you need to stop doing this. Hey, this isn't what's best for you. Hey, you should not watch TV for a season and focus on something else. Like no one's doing that for you. You have to do it for yourself.
You know what's so funny is that when I first started doing this stuff, and I would almost think it's corny to like write down these things. I'm like, why do I have to write down everything I do in a day? I already know what I do during the day because I the one that did the things. But it almost made me start feeling like schizophrenic a little bit when I'm like, I've got to coach myself. Like I got to, but there's the bad version of me that does these things, but there's the good version that's trying to write them down and identify them. And it sounds so silly and so corny to like make a list of the things you do in a day. Like it sounds like a waste of time, but it's not, because when you're writing these things down and you look at them objectively, you truly do feel like a different person. Like you're like, okay, let me take off this hat and put on my coaching hat for a minute. And now I'm looking at everything this person does wrong, even though that person is you. And it's so funny. I was like, am I like becoming schizophrenic trying to improve my life? Like, why does this feel like I'm two different people? Like one wants to help me and one is trying to hurt me. And it's crazy.
Well, I think it's so amazing that we have the capability of having different thoughts and different parts of our brain uses different things. And then we have like our spiritual health, our mental health, our physical health, all these aspects. And I always bring up this example, but my dog does not have that cognitive ability. My dog is meant to be there and stare at me every day and just be my shadow. He literally does nothing else but just, I'm his life. We as humans are not that way, and we should not treat ourselves that way as just one dimensional. We're not. We have things, we have abilities, we have gifts, we have talents, we have passions, more than just one thing. And so, yes, of course, you need to have a little bit of delusion and a little bit of maybe schizophrenia, as Nick likes to call it, um, to be aware of like yourself. Because even for me with ADHD, myself is constantly changing throughout the day. What I want, what I desire, what I'm excited about that moment changes so much every hour, every minute. And so it's like if I'm not aware of all of these different things because I hyper focus and forget stuff a lot, then I'm just going to be running around getting nothing done but doing a lot of different things with no execution. So it's like I have to be so intentional and so quote unquote schizophrenic so that I can become aware of all of the different parts of my brain that are operating and firing at different speeds. And it's just insane. But again, I know people put themselves down for having ADHD, but I think it's such a blessing. I think it's such an advantage, especially if you're creative, because we can really use it if you implement these things Nick and I are saying. Otherwise, it's gonna be overwhelming and it's gonna be very hard to manage.
It's crazy how complex we are as humans, especially when you're in the middle of doing the thing you know you shouldn't be doing. And like half of your brain is like it's the devil and angel on your shoulder. Like half of your brain is like yes, we're doing that thing we shouldn't be. And then the other half is like, you're losing. Like you know you're gonna regret this later. Humans are so complex. It's insane.
Yeah, we're complex and we should use that as an advantage, something that we can use and look forward to every day is that we are complex, we are entertaining, we are different every day. And it's like, use that as your form of entertainment, not just scrolling mindlessly on social media. Tap into you.
Let's talk about willpower now because this is like the cure to all of these things. I listened to so much David Goggins and Jocko Willink. They're both Navy SEALs. Most people probably know them, but they're both like Navy SEALs. They're hardos. They wake up at 4 in the morning every day. I listened to so much Jocko Willink and David Goggins and just podcasts, YouTube interviews, videos they actually make. I listened to so much to reprogram my willpower muscles when I was first trying to change my life. And it helped so much because like the way to stop these bad habits is willpower. Like you, that moment that you catch yourself, you have to just stop. And it is so difficult. But once you do it once, it's like a small win. And then you do it another time and it's like it's compounding and the momentum is crazy. And I was listening to Jocko Willink the other day on a podcast. The podcast is Diary of a CEO with the guy named Steven. I don't know his last name. His Instagram handle is just Steven. Congratulations to him for getting such a good handle. And he was interviewing Jocko Willink, and he was like, Jocko, what about the people who are listening to this podcast right now? And they want to change their life, but right now they're laying on the couch and they're eating a bag of Doritos and they're watching TV and they're like, I'll start tomorrow. Like, what do they do? Like, they're sitting there eating Doritos. And Jocko Willink was like, spit them out. And he said nothing else. He was like, spit them out, throw them in the garbage, start now. And I was like, that's it. It's really that simple. It's like at any point you can break all of your bad habits, just stop. And I know it's not easy. Like I know people, I'm sure we all know people that have stopped smoking cold turkey. They just stopped. they spit out the Doritos metaphorically. And it's not easy, but if you could just do it the once and feel how empowering it is to take control back of your life, you won. You won the game. And you know that good feeling, and you will do it more times.
Yeah, it's almost like building that little thing of confidence and affirmation and empowerment in yourself. I honestly love when I come across scenarios where I get to have the willpower to choose what I know is best for me, because then I feel so much better, especially when it comes to like food stuff, right? So, like the chips example, I know I've talked about the Takis from Trader Joe's a lot because I love them. And I usually eat them when I'm stressed, and I usually just mindlessly eat them, and I justify it by being like, okay, I'm not gaining 100 pounds by eating this. Okay, I'm gonna not do this tomorrow. Like, but they just taste so good, and it's I never feel good after. But when I have them in my pantry and I look at them and I want them and I don't eat them, I feel so confident. I'm like, I can do anything. I can conquer this world. Well, I just feel so confident. So it's almost like we don't need to completely ignore. Hold on, my dog is scratching his ear and my mic's picking it up. I can't with these noises. Oh my god. You don't need to completely like cut every single thing out of your life immediately, but just start with what are you doing right now? What's in front of you right now? What's one thing today you can start to change that habit of, and then that will compound. Like in the book Atomic Habits that I sent you, Nick, you'll read it. You're going to love it. It's so freaking good. But it talks about that. Like, whenever you know there's things you're doing, multiple things that you know you need to change, please take that squeaky toy out of his mouth. My dear God. Okay. I just can't today. I just can't.
I feel the same way. Usually, you just leave it all in.
I probably will. Evan's walking on his tippy toes like a penguin. Okay.
I can't wait to hang out. Does Evan know I'm coming? I can't wait to hang
Oh,
out with
yeah,
you
he knows.
guys.
He's so excited to see you and hang
I
out with
can't
you
wait.
too. It's going to be so fun. So, whenever you know there, Evan, don't clear your throat. I can't. I literally cannot hang
It's
today.
not our day.
This is
It's I feel so like off as well. Even though it's podcast is coming out great, it's not our day, and it's fine.
It's fine. It's life. Okay, so whenever you know there are multiple I can't believe I still know what I'm saying because I'm so distracted. When you know there's multiple things, start with the one thing and start to change that and start to implement that change, and then you can remove all the other things. Like, there are people that are like, "Okay, I need to make a change. I'm going to change 100 things or even like 5 things." And it's not sustainable. That's not how you compound new habits and how you unlearn a habit. So you need to start with just one thing. If it's the freaking Doritos, spit them out right now. If it's that you are not moving your body every day, start just by doing 2 minutes a day and then 5 minutes a day. Just start small, but like you've got to do something. Otherwise, you're just going to let time pass by. What is so funny?
You must really love Atomic Habits. Do you know that you sent that to me twice in the last 4 months?
What?
Atomic Habits, that book. You sent me 2 copies on different occasions, is what I'm saying.
Wait. Wait, what? No. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No way. No way. Oh my god. Wait, did you know? When did you find that out?
Okay.
I'm dead. Wait, when did you realize that I sent 2 of them?
I just remembered right now because you sent me 1 copy because we talked about it on a podcast episode not that long ago. And I was like, that's so awesome. And that kind of kicked off like, then I sent you a book. You send me books and we send each other books now. And then maybe like a month and a half ago, there was no Amazon note. So I got a copy of Atomic Habits and some Palo Santo. So I texted Jose and I was like, Jose, brother, that was so nice of you to send me Atomic Habits as well as some Palo Santo. Like, this was you, right? And he was like, that must have been a divine gift, brother, because it wasn't from me.
Oh man.
And then I was like, who else would have done that? It couldn't have been Michelle because she already sent me Atomic Habits. So it must be a good book. Michelle is dying to get me to read this thing, obviously.
Oh my god.
I just don't know which one to start first.
Wow. Well, how about we give somebody one of them that would
I
want it?
will. I will definitely give one away to someone who needs it, which is so funny because I haven't started either of them because we've just been in the midst of some good Robin Sharma books still. And I've had to read some businessy ones to, keep the gears turning at Brands Meet Creators. But yeah, it must be a great book.
That is So funny, and the thing is with my Amazon orders, it tells me when I've ordered something before. So it said, like, ordered, like, 4 times or something because I love buying this book. I did not realize I had sent it to you twice. I think you need to read that next. It's just so good. I think for our listeners too, and me, I will reread it for the 8th time. Like, it is just such a powerful book. So, that's just really funny that I forgot. I'm forgetful. I'm very forgetful, especially when I give things. I forget what I do or what I give. Like, I just don't think about it after I do it, you know? So, I can't believe I did that. That is hilarious.
I can't wait for the third copy. That's when I'll start reading it. I guess great time to mention, because I don't need two copies of this. We need some of our listeners. We need you guys to go to creation2cashflow.com, leave us voice notes, give us your problems, your questions, your topic ideas. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you want us to speak about. We will make an episode for you. And in your voice note, whoever gets to it first, which you'd be surprised, like, don't think you're out of the running for this, because these episodes come out like a week or two later. You don't know who heard it. Drop your address in the thing too, and I'll send you one of these two copies of Atomic Habits, and I'll write you a nice note in it or something too. So go leave us those voice memos at creation2cashflow.com and send me your address as well. I will send you a copy of Atomic Habits. And if you're eating Doritos, spit them out. Let's talk about revenge bedtime procrastination, because this is obviously a huge part of the conversation around habits always. First, we've talked about this before. We'll talk about it until no one in the until we cure it, until no one in the world deals with it. We'll talk about it. Revenge bedtime procrastination. If you don't know what this is essentially when you stay up late doing things you know you shouldn't be because you had a busy day and you didn't get to do all the things you wanted to, and you know it's going to screw you up tomorrow because now you're not going to get as much sleep, or you're not going to start the day right or start the day early. But we do it anyway. You're trying to get revenge on the fact that you did not have control over your day, and it can become quite toxic because it sets you up to fail the next day, and it sets you up for another night of revenge bedtime procrastination, and it becomes quite the toxic cycle.
Yeah, and you sometimes don't even know. I know Nick said, like, you try to get revenge. Like, sometimes it doesn't, you don't even think of it that way. You're just like, oh, I just gotta
Right.
decompress. I just gotta catch up. I just gotta see what's going on. Oh, I'm behind on these messages. Oh, I just need to check my email. Like, that is the revenge. Like, you are, instead of thinking forward about, okay, I need to set myself up for the best day tomorrow and I can get all these things done because I'm gonna have extra energy. Instead, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna decompress. I finally have quiet time right now. Like, and that is not good because there's just something in our, like, circadian rhythm and just even our mindset that if we're waking up early, we need sleep. Like, we need the proper amount of sleep. And staying up late to get something done, I'm not gonna lie, I literally did this last night. Um, it's not good for you though, guys. Like, last night I was up, I'm hiring a video editor right now, and so I was up looking at applications, replying to people, sending in their personality test assessments for them to take to make sure they'd be a good fit. It's like 12:30 a.m. and I was like, "Oh my god, I still need a shower, blow dry my hair, put in my heatless curls, get ready for bed, and then wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning for the podcast and meetings." So I got like 3.5 or 4 hours of sleep last night, which is why I'm off today. Was it worth it? No, absolutely not. I should have not done that, but I wouldn't be able to talk about it right now if I didn't do it. So, silver lining.
I'd like to give you a little credit too, because usually, I mean, like you said, revenge bedtime procrastination, it's not super conscious. Like, it's usually just staying up late doing a bunch of bullshit. But like, I want to give you a little bit of credit there. You weren't procrastinating. Like, you were getting some productive work done. You were just up too late, and sometimes we have a late night. But like, again, I don't know. Is this just an excuse I'm making, even though it wasn't me? Like, I don't know. We're getting down the rabbit hole of habits right now for sure. Here's my brain trying to justify Michelle's habits. Um,
I think the thing is, it's not a habit, right? Like, this is a thing though that I would write down and be like, what did I do today? Was this helping me? I would say yes and no to that. That is kind of a gray area, but at the same time, I'm not in the habit of doing this every night because I know it's not what's best for me. But you're right. I wasn't revenging my lack of time. I just don't have enough time in the day, which is why I'm hiring several assistants right now because I want to maximize my time and grow the team and like help people and everything. And so maybe it wasn't revenge bedtime procrastination because I wasn't wasting away my brain trying to just endlessly scroll on social media, but it was still something that can easily become a habit to get into. Whenever you start to sleep at a certain time, like you're going to start being only tired at that time, you know? And so it's just be mindful and conscious of the things that you're doing every day.
What is your sleep schedule like on a typical day?
It depends on the time of year, but like right now in my life, I'm asleep before midnight and then Wednesdays I wake up at 5, and then every other day of the week I try to wake up when I wake up, which is typically around like 7:30, 8 a.m. Sometimes on Saturday mornings. Well, now that I don't have class on Friday nights, sometimes the night after class, so like Friday mornings now, because I'm in class so late on Thursday nights. I will probably on Friday mornings wake up at like 9 a.m. because I need hours of sleep and I'm awake until I'm in class till like 11 or something. And then I'm wired because I just performed in front of everybody and I just cannot fall asleep on Thursday nights. So I'm telling you, you're flying in on a Thursday. I'm probably on Friday morning not going to wake up until like 9. And then that's 12 p.m. Eastern time for you, so we'll see.
Oh my goodness. I feel like I didn't get jet lagged too bad last time I was in California. And maybe I'll be adjusted because I'll be in mountain time
Oh,
for 8 days first. So who knows? I feel like I was only jet lagged when I got back to Jersey.
mm.
I forget how it was going though. Was I getting up earlier or later? Everything just felt weird for a little while, but whatever. Life is good. As long as you move your phone charger away from your bed, I promise you are going to have such a blessed, abundant, beautiful life because like our phones are the most toxic habit that we have, even though we might use them to make money and send important messages and we can justify however we want. They're the most toxic thing. If you could just move your phone away from your bed, life will get so good for you.
And make your bed. I know that's another simple one, Nick. It's so simple, but it's like the willpower of looking at your sheets and being like, "I know I'd feel better if I made this." I cannot describe it. I don't know why. I know Jocko Willink has speeches about this and he's talked about it. Please make your bed. Don't look at your phone first thing in the morning and make your bed first thing in the morning, or at least at some point during the day, because you will feel so good about yourself. And then that is also going to help build a habitual thing for you.
It's so true. My bed looks like shit
Nick,
right now. I'm just packing, and this morning I I bought an electric guitar, and
wow.
I had to buy a hardcover guitar case so I could travel with my acoustic guitar. And I'm also in the middle of washing my sheets, so there was just no scenario where my bed was getting made today. And you're right, like it truly, it's the worst feeling when the bed is not made. It sucks. I try to live by the saying of leave things how you want to find them.
Yeah.
Because when you come back after a long day and your bed is made, oh my God, it is the biggest blessing versus when you get back and it looks terrible and you're like,
It's like a simple luxury, right? Like it's like you just feel grungy. You just feel grungy whenever you go to lay in your bed and it's unmade and it's almost like the residual, I don't know, it's like a psychological principle. That's why people talk about it all the time, but it's something that's so simple that people still don't do. Like still. And it's like those two things. Don't look at your phone first thing in the morning for 30 minutes, no screen time, at least 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes, no screen time. Make your bed. Two things that could literally change your life. Yet it's still so easy not to do those habits. It's so easy to just ignore them.
it's true. It's true. It's not easy and you're not going to win that battle every day, but the days you do, you'll have better days and you'll start to remind your brain about that and you'll start to reprogram yourself. So spit out the Doritos. And if you're looking for more ways to get involved in our podcast, again, go to creationtocashflow.com, leave us that voice memo. Also, be sure to check out Creation to Cashflow on YouTube if you want to watch these episodes and you can see all of the chaos. You can find each of us on Instagram and TikTok and most of the other places. I'm everywhere but LinkedIn. I miss LinkedIn. But you can find me at Get Ahead with Nick, and you can find Michelle at Michelle JH. That's Michelle with two L's, four E's, JH. That's the podcast. See you next time.